To Startup in Residence 2017 Demo Day here at the San Francisco Main Branch Corrett Auditorium. We're pleased to have you and would like to welcome to the stage Jay Nath, the Chief Innovation Officer for the City and County of San Francisco.
Good morning. It's my honor to welcome all of you to Startup in Residence Demo Day 2017. And for those of you who are new to Startup in Residence, also known as STIR, it's a 16-week structured program that brings together startups and departments to build new technology solutions for some of our most pressing challenges. Challenges like streamlining the foster care process, or ensuring that our buildings are safe after an earthquake, and helping families and children access social services real-time anywhere, and many, many more. This program is designed around a really simple idea, that the best way to solve challenges is by working together across departments, across cities, and across sectors. When we launched the program in 2014, it was really an experiment, and it's grown tremendously since then. We've paired over 30 startups and departments across 4 cities in the Bay Area. And looking forward to 2018, we're really excited to announce that we're scaling the program across the country. And we're growing the program because we're really excited about 3 big opportunities that we see. The first opportunity is to really modernize government, to give governments the tools that they need to be more effective, efficient, equitable, and responsive. The second big opportunity we see is really around value exchange between public sector and private sector, where governments can really learn about new methodologies of problem solving, whether it's rapid prototyping or user-centered design. And for private industry to really understand government better, to understand our needs, our challenges, the context, and the fact that we have to serve everybody, not just a few market segments. And it's moving beyond a traditional customer-vendor relationship to really a true partnership. And the last big opportunity we see with this program is around economic development. And I think a great example of that is our partner city, San Leandro. They've done just an amazing job of building a really vibrant startup community. And my hat comes off to the great work that they're doing there. And it's transformed really from a sort of a industrial manufacturing city to a 21st century digital city. So a real inspiration for so many cities across the US. I'm really proud to be working with Mayor Cutter and Debbie Acosta and Tony over there. So great team. And with that, I want to sort of end with a number of thank yous. I want to first start with a thank you to our mayor, San Francisco Mayor Ed Lee, for his leadership and support of this program. And unfortunately, he is unable to make it here. He was planned to be here, but he has a press conference with the governor at this time. And I also want to thank our city partners, Oakland, Mayor Schaaf and Jose Corona, of course, San Leandro, Mayor Cutter and Debbie Acosta for their support and being here today personally, and West Sacramento, Mayor Cabaldon and John Robinson, Diane's here from their team as well, for all of their support. I also want to thank all of the departments and startups that invested so much energy and time to build these great solutions over 16 weeks. And I want to recognize some of the city leadership here in our city, like Hydra Mendoza and City Administrator Naomi Kelly for their leadership in making these partnerships work. And last, I want to thank our partners. Cameron Sadiq from City Innovate Foundation for being such a great partner, Nicola Corzine from NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center, eRepublic, National League of Cities, Civic Makers, Judy and Lawrence for all of their work in making this happen. And of course, to my team, Krista Kanalakis, if you want to raise your hand, Krista, if you're there somewhere. She's outside. Crowd control. And then Dee Prasad, raise your hand, Dee. She has been amazing, really driving this program, making it a world-class program. And now, with that, I'd like to introduce Mayor of San Leandro, Mayor Cutter, onto stage to share some of the work that they're doing in San Leandro and why they joined the program. So join me in welcoming Mayor Cutter.
Hi, my name is Pauline Cutter, and I am the mayor of San Leandro, as you've heard. I just want to thank you, first of all, the City of San Leandro for having the insight to put this together, Mayor Lee for inviting us, and just the fact that it's such an innovative and collaborative opportunity for cities. Sometimes when you're a city, you don't always have the opportunity to try things, and time is the most valuable thing of all. And so by putting this together and setting it up like this, giving our staff some time to try things, it really can't be understated. One of the things that I believe is hardest is for people to get into government. If you're a business or so, I mean, I can tell you how many emails I get every day from people who really want to explain things or show things, and no doubt they could help us a lot. But you just don't have that time to actually evaluate and see things for yourself. And so to give businesses an opportunity to work with government, also to show them the red tape they have to go through, and then maybe show cities some of that red tape is a little bit too tightly wound, and to unwind a little bit, I think that that's really an important fact. I've been going on a lot of junkets lately, so excuse me if I forget where I was. But I think we were in Washington, D.C., and one of the things that I talked to my staff about on the way home is procurement. And they said, the hardest thing is, for a city, it takes us probably 5 years to get a contract going, because you have your legal advice, you have all this, and you have to make sure everything's dotted and your T's are crossed. And when you're in the tech business, it's fast moving. By the time we get something done, it's out of date and we need to go on. And so that's how cities can then start changing the way they think to make sure that we can have these opportunities. And this program actually promotes the technology that all of us really yearn for. I just got back from China, and I went to a smart city convention, whatever, in Yinchan, and it's the smartest city in China. And so we went there, and it was this great opportunity to see how a city who started from zero with the mind that they were going to make this smart city, and they had every opportunity to build the roads and to do everything, the technology that they want, how they developed it. And it was a little bit like, and you guys are going to have to Google this because probably no one knows what I'm talking about because I'm older, but Epcot Center in Disneyland back in the 80s or the 70s, where they said, this is what it's going to look like in 2020. And that's kind of what it looks like. But what happened is they didn't evolve. So they had this idea, and the idea is now put in place, but it's kind of not evolved to really what the now solutions are. That, and the fact that they have personal recognition for everything that they do, which is great if you're in an older community, but I don't think it'd make it in our general community. I mean, we'd get hammered if that happened. So it's just great to be able to see those examples, though, and how you can take what you want and put it into your city. And it also just represents the lightning speed that things are happening in technology. Last year, San Leandro was lucky enough to work with two companies. Lotta Data, they created a dashboard for our recreation department to find out who we were serving, but more importantly, who we weren't serving, and how we could actually adapt our programs to people in our community. And then also SyncFab, and they are deploying software to give transparency to our manufacturing supply chain. And that's just an example. As mayor, I'm trying to stay on top of all this, along with a lot of other things. I come back with all these ideas and throw it out at staff, and then poor staff has to figure out what's relevant and really what they have the time for. So it's a program like this that allows you to be able to fail and still go on. That's just the most important gift of all, because you learn from your failures and you learn what you really need. And so that's why this is so important. This year we're working with Ryder Pierce from YoGov to build personalized resident dashboards, and also Rafa and Kuko from Bexy, and they're going to help us with our library services to actually promote on Facebook what services we offer, and then all of our events. And so I'm excited to learn more about those programs this afternoon, like all of us are. So I just want to say, as mayor, this innovation can't be talked about enough. Your residents want you to offer the services that they need, and they don't care how you get there. They don't care, well, they do care how you get there, or how much you spend, but they think it's so important, but they want you to do all the solutions. And so what a great way to be a collaborative place where you can call your colleagues from another city and say, here's my idea. What have you done about this? How'd you fail? What things were worked for you, and so forth. And to know that then your colleagues will call you back and say, I need your help. And to not have to start from zero every time. It can't be said how much something like this really is valued in our city. And so with that, I just want to say thank you. And San Leandro is really proud to be a part of this, and hopefully we'll keep coming back each year. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage Monique Woodard, our Demo Day MC, also a venture partner at 500 Startups and former mayoral innovation fellow here at the City County of San Francisco.
Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. As Lawrence mentioned, I'm part of the Mayor's Office of Civic Innovation Family. I've worked with that office for a few years, and they hold a place near and dear to my heart, even though I'm no longer part of the Mayor's Office of Civic Innovation, and I'm now an investor. I decided to join MOCI for a really important reason, because I had spent a long career in tech, working on startups, working on products from fashion tech to media, but I really wanted to learn how to create products with empathy and how to create products that would touch an entire city. And when you create products that touch an entire city, you really have to think about people of different socioeconomic statuses, people who use different languages, and really think clearly about the things that you're putting into the world. And that's what a lot of these startups have done today. We've seen startups have an impact on everything from who picks up my laundry to the way we move around the city and use transportation. But there is one area that startups haven't really touched until now. Technology has a massive opportunity to impact city services. We spend over $150 billion across state, local, and federal government, but we still haven't had great technology solutions. The collaboration of mayors and city employees across cities like San Leandro, West Sacramento, and San Francisco is now delivering that. So thank you, mayors, for your leadership in this area. I know that Mayor Lee couldn't be with us today, but he's been a huge supporter of civic technology and the STIR program, so we'd like to thank him. Thank you. And speaking with my investor hat on, because the sustainability of these companies counts on their abilities to work with cities and also their ability to create companies that scale and attract investment. My firm, 500 Startups, has been a beneficiary of some of the great work that STIR has done. We've invested in several companies from the STIR program, including Urban Logic, Raxar, Numina, who you'll see here today. And we found that STIR is really catalyzing this thriving government technology sector and is giving startups the opportunity to work closely with cities and solve real problems. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our next generation of GovTech powerhouses. So let's get going and meet some startups and see some of the great work they've done with these teams. Let's start with the San Leandro Library System and Bexy.io. Libraries are really more than just books. Bexy.io created a tool that will help residents and visitors get out into the world and discover San Leandro's history, art, and natural resources. So please, with a round of applause, welcome them to the stage.
Hi, everybody. I'm Cuco Vega. Good morning. My name is Patty Malari with the San Leandro Public Library. All right. So thanks to the rest of our team, both like the library, Bexy, and our advisors. There's a real story for us in San Leandro. We actually started 2 years ago as a creative agency in San Leandro. And at least for me, coming here from a way bigger city, we found out different experiences, right? And we saw that even though we're surrounded by tech here, sometimes what really matters is that human experiences, right? And in my experience, when we moved to San Leandro, coming from a bigger city, way bigger city, Guadalajara, in Mexico, I was really, really doubtful about what we were doing there. But I was super surprised because we actually found a place full of progressive values, a place where people are creating, innovating, makers, and a bunch of startups working on all this, clean energy, drones, virtual reality, you name it. But there was a huge challenge. Not a lot of people knew about it.
And Cuco's story about coming to San Leandro and not knowing what to expect, but being very surprised by all of the innovation that's been popping up, that actually relates to our library. Here's the San Leandro Main Library, which is where I work, and our library staff has done an excellent job of offering and creating all of these innovative programs for all ages. We have all of these multicultural programs, Spanish Baby Storytime. We are also a city that's very proud of our historical background. Right here, we have the Casa Peralta, and that was actually one of the spaces that we want to attract. It's been built in the 1901 decade, but people in our community don't even know that it exists. Our challenge is that we don't know how to exactly attract all of the people in our community to our spaces. Our director, Teresa Malin, she actually was very inspired by the mobile platform of a program that we had with Pokemon Go, where we actually made a gym out of our library spaces and all of our museum spaces, and that was really attractive to the community. Looking outside of that sphere of that, and also looking at all of our historical sites, our natural attractions, like our creek, our marina, also our stores and restaurants and all of the wonderful pubs and breweries that are coming up, and also our gorgeous art that's coming up on the streets. That created a really awesome, bigger opportunity for us to look outward and create a connected solution for all of our locals and visitors that come to San Leandro and have a real experience. We want to engage them. We want to activate our spaces, develop our local economy and our businesses, and also add value to our businesses. How do we offer that all in one platform in the palm of your hand? Cuco?
So the first thing that we needed was to make sure that we could put together organization, businesses, and people, right? So we needed to create some kind of profile so they could all hang out. Then we needed to make sure that it was super easy for people to sign up, to access the service. We also wanted to make it super easy to share it with friends, to make sure that we could not only engage locals, but they could engage their friends as well, right? And obviously we wanted this to be 100% mobile. So maybe you have heard about some platform that already does most of it. So we decided to leverage that platform, right, because of very obvious reasons, right? But the most important is it's super easy for everybody to just create their own events on their Facebook pages and all the content, and it will already automatically be there, right? Plus, we can tailor personalized experiences through their likes, preferences, etc., right? Now, we were trying to decide, is this going to be an app? Is this going to be on web? We decided to do a chatbot because the interaction was going to be a little more personal. It was going to be more about telling people, recommendations and all this stuff. The way that it works is pretty much the city decides, who's going to be part of this, and then the bot will only access those organizations, right? You're going to be able to look at the demo, so I'm just going to go through the screens. You're actually going to be able to test this. But the benefits, again, we're activating spaces, developing our own local economy, and adding value to all these businesses. Next steps, we're going to do a beta test starting next week, defining the process of how the selection for the first businesses and organizations will be, add some new features, and what do we learn? A lot, but mainly user testing, super quick, super early. We learned a lot. One of the big questions that we had in one of those was, why not use Google? And that actually made us think a lot, wait, why are people not just going to go and Google what to do in San Leandro? So that pushed us to actually do a better application. And last, artificial intelligence, it's awesome, but it's kind of hard. It turns out it actually requires human intelligence first, so just FYI. Thank you so much. Thanks to the city of San Leandro. Thank you, Mayor Carter, Debbie, Tony, Teresa, Patty, and thank you guys.
Thank you. Love that. Love to see AI kind of infiltrating government technology. So remember when we were all using that Yo app that just said Yo to our friends? I was the only one who used it. YoGov is doing a lot more than that. They've worked with San Leandro's IT department to give residents a personalized digital experience for city services. So let's say yo to YoGov.
Good morning. My name is Ryder Pierce, and I'm the founder and CEO of YoGov. We're an Oakland-based startup.
And I'm Tony Battelle. I'm the head of IT for the city of San Leandro. San Leandro is a 161-year-old startup, so we're a little older than these other teams. But we are undergoing a transformation. As the Mayor Cutter spoke about, as Jay Nath spoke about, we're becoming younger, we're very diverse, we're becoming more tech-savvy, and this transformation is embodied in what you see before you here, which is the Truth is Beauty statue in downtown San Leandro at our tech campus. Now, as the IT director, I oversee our digital transformation. That's city services online. And I identified a couple of problems, though, that we have with those. One is that digital services online can be really hard to find, particularly in the time that you need them. And at the same time, when we introduce new digital services, we don't reach the full addressable market, meaning that we don't reach everybody that might use them. So we don't get the level of engagement that we could. So we put out a call to stir and hooked up with Ryder from YoGov to help us solve this problem.
So we heard Tony's issues, and we heard about the website, and what we decided to do with San Leandro was create a personalized resident dashboard for the residents, so residents wouldn't have this problem of seeing hundreds of services, but we could actually customize what they were going to see. So briefly about YoGov as a company, we started in 2016, and our goal is to simplify government services. So we want to make it easier through design and better UI for people to see the services that they want and that are relevant to them.
Now, one of the things that Team San Leandro all agreed on in the very beginning, this was a requirement, was that it had to be an extension of the San Leandro brand. So it had to be a San Leandro product. It had to be branded San Leandro. So when residents came in, they felt like they were on a San Leandro product. This is like a walled garden, right? So they would only see San Leandro services while on this new platform. I would spend a lot of time thinking about this, but in the beginning, that's how we went forward.
So we agreed with Tony early on. We would build a new page, a new dashboard that would live with San Leandro. 4 months ago, we kicked off the project. We spent a lot of time in San Leandro, which is an amazing city. We toured its buildings, went to its events, including the annual Cherry Festival, and also they have a new Truth Thursdays at the Truth is Beauty statue, which Tony talked about, and spent a lot of time getting to know the city and what was happening.
Ryder went to a lot of events where we serve San Leandro craft beer. I'm not sure if that's a coincidence or not, but it's definitely a good way to get to know the city.
So it was super easy once we kicked things off to work with the city and Tony's staff. So first thing we did was we looked at existing service inventory. So we looked at where people were going on the website, and also we heard where people should be going based on new services such as 311, MySL. We built a dashboard prototype, and then we gathered internal feedback from city staff, and then did a workshop with residents to get feedback from them as well. And here's what we came up with. This is the dashboard prototype, which is live in public beta. So similar to Amazon, we basically recommend services. So you create an account as a resident, and based on your demographic information, such as age and gender, we will recommend services. So for example, if you're a parent, You might see library services, you might see services about the Washington Park and Pool or San Leandro highlights. We typically will recommend 6 services that are most relevant to you, and this is customizable for everyone who signs up.
And this is great. I mean, this ticks off exactly what we wanted. We wanted a personalized experience, something that is customized to you, relevant for what you want. We feel like this will increase our traffic. It can increase engagement and help us reach a larger audience, and it'll improve the experience residents have. But toward the end, there was this shift in thinking. And by that, I mean that, remember that walled garden I talked about? Well, we both realized that if we did that, we were going to artificially limit the value of this service. So put that another way, if we built it as a network and you could access federal, state, local, county, and other cities' services all through the same portal, it would have exponentially more value for the resident. And we feel like this is a really good model, and I'm hopeful that other cities can plug in. It was really easy. You put a skin in front of your website, customize services for residents that are relevant to them, and you don't even have to change the back end. So we're really excited about it going forward.
So where we are today, the dashboard's in public beta, and we're planning an awesome public launch with San Leandro in October. We're going to share early metrics and results, and hopefully we'll get this to as many cities as possible. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Great job. This is very different from 500 Startups demo days. There are no bear costumes. I know supporting San Francisco artists is something that we all care about. And the San Francisco Art Commission worked with Civic Studio to bring the weekly space assignment lottery online for local artists and to also map our wonderful street artist locations. So please welcome to the stage Civic Studio and the San Francisco Arts Commission. There you go. And thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Ryan Wold. I'm the founder and principal of Civic Studio.
And I'm Ann Trickey. I am the market manager with the San Francisco Arts Commission Street Artist Program.
Cool. So I responded to a RFP from the Arts Commission regarding the modernization project for the Street Artist Lottery Program. It started in the early 70s. And so the problem that we were trying to address is modernizing the program that is basically still a manual process. The way it goes down is artists put paper slips. They show up in the morning, they put paper slips in a bucket. About 100 of them gather around and they pull them out to announce their spaces. That's how the randomization of that selection is how the spaces are distributed in a fair way. And then any given Saturday, there's about 100 artists who show up at Justin Herman Plaza, at the Embarcadero Plaza, early to select their spaces, and they start work about 9 a.m. and sell their handcrafted goods for the day. So one of the issues that we were trying to address here is the process and equity issues that are occurring in the program. So over the last 30 or 40 years, there's been a lot of additional rules that local rules to each individual community and artist location that have cropped up and sort of actually complexified the rather simple process. So some of the goals that we were trying to address are to increase the awareness of the program, to get a more robust turnout and increase the quality of the marketplace, and to improve the access for the artist program in general. Another thing was to improve the program reporting. A lot of this information is documented on paper, and the paper just goes back into the administrative office and sits there, and it's unable to be reported on because it's all on paper. So it requires an additional investment after the fact to even understand the health of the program. One of the things we wanted to do is, as a small startup here in San Francisco, I wanted to leverage STIR as a way to participate with a city agency and learn more about working with government, the challenges and the opportunities. And then from the Arts Commission's perspective, resources are always limited, so we wanted to make sure that we could take advantage of city programs to be more innovative and be very lean in our approach. And ultimately, we wanted to respect the spirit and the letter of the program. So the program has a lot of history. It's been around for about 30 or 40 years. I encourage you to check it out. It's very interesting, something I've learned a lot more about, something each artist embodies each day. So some of the things we learned is the text systems can be easy. This was a very scoped application, very simple. We'll walk through it briefly. But the people systems are hard. Any technical project has social complexity as well. And that's something at Civic Studio we're very attuned to, and at the Arts Commission is also very attuned to that, and that was a first-class consideration for our project.
So I'll talk a little bit about equality versus equity. This is one of the main tenets of anything that we do at the Arts Commission. We actually have a cultural equity mandate where we're required to actually grant money out in an equitable process and way. And so all of our programs are very tied to this desire to make sure we're creating solutions that people can access, everybody can access. So this is one of my favorite images of how to describe what the difference between equality and equity is, and I'm sure all of you have seen some version of this. But when you build a solution, often with technology, you just do the thing, and you're like, oh, of course, everyone can access this. Well, with the Street Artist Program, we found that not only did we have to build the solution, but we also had to build the access. There were people at levels who had never used email before. There were people who didn't understand the difference between signing up through a phone application versus signing up through their computer. We also have a really high population of language access needs. About 60% of the people in the program speak another language before English, and there's a very large population of people who only speak Chinese and only speak Spanish. So a lot of our work went into providing that access for them.
So this is a day, we started off, first off, as a user-centered design exercise. So before we started even talking about software or thinking about what it might look like, we went and talked to users. So that means showing up in the morning, 6 a.m. with the lottery artists. So this is sort of what it looks like down at Justin Herman Plaza. Everybody gets around here. Each one of these people fills out one of these forms and puts it in a bucket. So that's 100 people standing around filling these out, putting them in a bucket, standing around at 6:30 in the morning, rain or shine, pulling these out. This is a 30 to 45 minute process every Saturday morning. People come from far away to do this. As the project goes, this is what a day looks like going. They start work at 9 a.m. Imagine getting to work, your day starts at 9 and having to check in at 6. What we built, something pretty simple, basic login, select a lottery, press the register button, boom, you're registered for a lottery. The night before, at 7 o'clock, you get a result, you show up, you already know what your solution is, you've saved 30 to 45 minutes every day. So here are your results, you know exactly what you're doing. If you have a terrible result, you might not drive from Monterey, for example. And what we learned is that people come from many different places in terms of technology sophistication. Some people aren't even familiar with how to log in or the difference between a mobile app and a web app, for example. And so this pointed out the need to support users with technical assistance throughout every step. So every technical project should consider the social ramifications. And engaging people through service is magic. During the process, we actually prototyped this thing in 4 weeks. We've been testing it for the last 8 weeks. We had 450 test registrations, 250 registrations in the first 2 live weeks. We've been live for about 2 weeks now. And the impact that we had was that street artists can save 30 to 60 minutes each day. They can plan and adjust so they can manage their lives better. We increased accessibility to the program. We built personal trust by the relationships we built, which was very powerful, and I think beyond the scope of any RFP, and increased the public trust. That's it.
Thank you.
much. Thank you very much, guys. That's kind of game-changing. I did not know that street artists woke up at, arrived at 6 a.m. to sign up for something. And this is saving them maybe having to drive from Monterey to do that. That's really the game-changing kind of things that these companies are doing for our city. So next up, iCarol and SkyClutch. They worked with the San Francisco Our Children, Our Families Council to create a one-stop web portal and comprehensive digital service directory that will include all publicly funded and administered services for youth and their families. So the youth and families of the city of San Francisco are directly impacted by this next startup. Let's give them a hand and welcome them to the stage.
Hello, my name is Bryn Howlett, co-founder and CEO of SkyClutch. We build user-friendly websites and data sharing software.
And I'm Lori Scolari, the director of the Our Children, Our Families Council out of the mayor's office in San Francisco. We'd like to start by introducing you to Alicia. Alicia was born and raised in San Francisco. She grew up in the housing projects where, unfortunately, domestic violence was prevalent in her home. Throughout her childhood, she interacted with 3 key agencies. The first was San Francisco General Hospital, San Francisco Police Department, both of those due to the violence happening in her home. And then the one place of stability for her was San Francisco Unified School District. Alicia had lots of needs that were not being met. She needed dental care, asthma care, she needed academic tutoring support, her mother needed parenting classes, housing stability, and some counseling. But however, they did not access those services because they did not know how to navigate the bureaucracy. So what if we could retell Alicia's story? What if we can empower those police officers, those nurses, and those teachers that she interacted with all the services that Alicia needed access to? What if they had access to those at their fingertips through an online referral system? We knew we needed a technology solution, and that's when we reached out to STIR.
So as you can see, we're presented with a challenge. We need a tool that allows for Alicia, who represents the children and families in San Francisco, along with the service providers that she works with, to be able to access all of these needs and services in one place. So how do we do that? Well, at SkyClutch, we've worked with multiple organizations such as 211s and United Ways, and we know that they already manage a lot of this data already. We also know that they work with software companies to manage this data, and in this case, they work with a company called iCarol. So the goal here is to implement data sharing, work with multiple organizations, integrate with the software companies that they're already using to create the service inventory. So what we've done so far is we've created a website that allows the user to search via text field, location search, and category search across multiple data sets from multiple organizations, and they can do all of this on a mobile device or desktop computer. Once they enter a search term that they're looking for, they're presented with a series of search results. From here, they can view more details about that service. They can add that service to their bookmarks. They can view their bookmarks, and they're presented with everything on a Google map. Delivering these results is easy. Simply click on your bookmarks, click on share, and you can share via text message, social media, email, or print.
To think through the benefits to our residents, we thought we would ask Alicia, who now has a family of her own. It's a referral system for her family. It's also a way for us to be cost-effective in how we address needs. It allows us on the back end to track needs for decision-making and better coordination as a city. And within our city, it allows us to build trust between government agencies and families. Alicia said, "This tool allowed me to go to one place for the services for my children. And when the city can help me address health and social issues, my children do better in school." What we've learned is that by organizing our systems among our service providers, we can provide better services for actual families. By partnering together across systems, we can support more than one need at a time. And departments are actually eager to share their systems data if it means that they can serve their clients better and more holistically.
So the next steps are bring on more organizations that share related data, such as prenatal care, housing, immigration services, and more. Continue to gather user feedback from the 3 data sets that we are currently using. Use statistics and analytics to see what people are searching for to make sure that we have all of the needs and services within this tool. And lastly, marketing. Getting this out to the community, letting the service providers know that this tool exists is going to be a big part of this project. This ends our presentation. Thank you very much, and a big thank you to STIR.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love the user storytelling and customer development that all of these teams are doing. That's not something that's always available to city services, and that's hugely important. So people like Alicia are the people who use city services, and they're directly impacted. So next up, San Francisco Human Services Agency, Office of Early Care and Education, and MCT Technology paired up to create a simple technology tool to help families get access to high-quality childcare, something that I'm sure a lot of you know a lot about here today. So please, let's welcome them to the stage, MCT and the Human Services Agency Office of Early Child Care and Education.
Hello, everybody. My name is Leonardo Flores. I am a business liaison with MCT Technology.
And my name is Tiffany Toravias, and I'm the Data and Evaluation Manager for the San Francisco Office of Early Care and Education.
Quality childcare is important. This is why MCT has made it our mission to develop paperless, cloud-based software solutions that allow for childcare agencies and centers to have an easier, more efficient, and less costly way of managing their centers. In addition, the system allows the agency to increase and maintain compliance with federal and state regulations.
And OECE aligns federal, state, and local funding to improve access to early care and education for families in San Francisco with a child aged 0 to 5 and to build system capacity. Our new Early Learning Scholarship provides financial assistance to eligible families to pay for quality care, and all participants must come through San Francisco Child Care Connection, also known as SF3C. SF3C is a centralized eligibility list for families seeking child care payment assistance in San Francisco. There are currently about 3,000 children on the list, many of whom are low income. The application or system that was developed occurred around year 2000, and it shows clearly. So the online application is very long and can be difficult to navigate, which then results in incomplete applications or errors that then require staff to go in and follow up with the families. The matching algorithms are lacking, which results in poor matches. These various inefficiencies result in just a long time for a family to connect to a provider that works for them, which keeps families from accessing quality care.
So our discovery process is really a composite of reviewing previous evaluations while conducting our own staff and family interviews. Our analysis is underlined with OECE's goals along with federal and state regulations. And what did we find? For parents, the application is cumbersome, taking on average anywhere between 17 to 20 minutes and everything having to be completed in one sitting. Additionally, parents felt as if they were left in the dark after the application was submitted. There were inconsistencies and ambiguities in the follow-up communication, and in addition, there was also a lack of clarity regarding the overall process. Now, for those parents that did receive a child care referral, many of them reported that the prospective provider did not meet the preferred provider criteria. Now, the challenges also extend to staff. Staff reported that the one-to-one matching process is tedious, has a lot of steps, and requires the use of a lot of external software. What this translated to was a reduction in productivity and also an increase in potential error rates. Now, how did we solve this? So we did 2 ways. We increased usability for parents by adding certain features such as a progress bar, a save and close feature so parents can continue the application later on, in addition to a back button, which may be simple, but is very useful. Apart from this, we also enable the parent to demystify the application process. We provide feedback in regard to what is my estimated wait time, where do I fall on the ranking system, how many families are ahead of me, and what is a potential co-payment for me. In addition, we made the preferred provider criteria portion more robust. The system will use the family profile in addition to the provider profile to create matches. We also have a document and message exchange system to facilitate enrollment and also expedite the eligibility process.
In terms of benefits, this improved system would allow us to leverage more state and federal funding to serve more children. It would also save staff time so we can leverage their expertise for things like case management as opposed to things like follow-up or routine updates. It's more user-friendly, so it meets families where they are. And above all, it improves access to early care and education for some of San Francisco's neediest families.
So we are still testing and developing the software. However, it can be applied to various counties, cities, and individual agencies. If you would like more information regarding the software and its development, please visit us at the resource table. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. So let's see. All righty. We all love housing, especially affordable housing. The San Francisco Mayor's Office of Housing and Community Development worked with UrbanSim to create software that can evaluate buildings for affordable housing suitability and can increase the amount of affordable housing in our city. This could really be a game changer. Please welcome to the stage UrbanSim and the Office of Housing and Community Development.
Hi and welcome. My name is Christiana Whitcomb and I work for UrbanSim.
And I'm Mara Blitzer. I'm the Director of Housing Development with the Mayor's Office of Housing and Community Development.
So first I'd like to thank the STIR program for giving us the opportunity to participate. At UrbanSim, we are a group of data scientists, planners, and software engineers located in Berkeley. We use data science techniques to simulate the future of cities. This helps to inform decision-making at the city and regional levels. I would like to take a second to introduce the rest of UrbanSim's STAR team, several of whom are in the audience today.
And I'm sorry, the Mayor's Office of Housing and Community Development, we provide financing for the development, rehabilitation, and purchase of affordable housing in San Francisco. And in some ways, we are the reason that the mayor is not here because he's in Hunter's View to make an amazing announcement about new funding for affordable housing. So we're sorry about that. But yes, thank you. It's really exciting. So these are some examples of some of the affordable housing that we have funded and built over the last few years. We have approximately 400 buildings, 20,000 apartments, many, many households. About 10% of San Franciscans are living in housing that is sponsored by our office. We are an office of about 85 people, and despite the fact that we wore matching outfits, we are not technology experts like UrbanSim, and in the face of an affordable housing crisis in San Francisco, our office is tasked with analyzing new sites for affordable housing development, and we need to do that really, really quickly. We do that actually by using our brains and using a pencil and paper and an Excel chart, and we like to do this to be iterative and to compare different programming for the same parcel, and we're doing iterations over and over and over again, and it's being done essentially by hand.
So MoCD has a lot of expertise about the issue, not only what kind of housing is needed in San Francisco, but where it will be built, what it will cost, and how it will be financed. At UrbanSim, we asked, how can we leverage their knowledge to build a tool that can simulate housing development on a site in a matter of seconds with the ultimate goal of helping them to address San Francisco's housing needs. Over the past 4 months at UrbanSim, we've been building a web-based program that we call Penciler. It can analyze a site from both a building program and a financial perspective in a matter of seconds. This will help them to analyze more sites more quickly. So the core of Penciler is an algorithm that can geometrically optimize unit layout on a site given the zoning constraints and the building program requirements of the user, such as if residents will have special needs or if they're expected to be large families. We also built out a database of the San Francisco planning code that means that the physical constraints on the site can be auto-populated by the zoning type. So the user can test out many different building and programmatic needs, from veterans housing to housing for the homeless and everything in between. So we leverage the knowledge at MoCD and San Francisco planning to understand what requirements any new generated building must meet. So this includes complex requirements about open space, a resident's access to light, stairwells, and elevators, to name a few. So any new building needs to meet building and zoning codes. It needs to maximize the number of the units on the site while fitting into those physical constraints, and it needs to fit within the neighborhood context. So the user can draw on the generated unit count to analyze the development costs, and they can add premiums for things like environmental remediation costs or San Francisco's public art requirement, for example. And finally, we built a financial analysis tool that's tailored for affordable housing development. That means it can accommodate the low-income housing tax credit, as well as more typical sources of debt and equity. So the user can compare multiple iterations on the same site in a matter of minutes, not days. We're really excited about this, not only because we think it will be very helpful, but also because we can imagine several possible future uses for Penciler, such as analyzing the impact of policy on building feasibility, or scaling Penciler up to analyze housing development at the neighborhood and the city levels.
So we are so excited about this product. I cannot tell you enough. We are expected to build 1,500 new units of affordable housing every year in the near future, and our ability to do that quickly and continue to build award-winning, wonderful places for people to live. We can do that through the help of programs like the Penciler. So I wanted to thank Stuart for giving us the platform to work with UrbanSim and the UrbanSim team. It is a really large team. They're all over the world, and also especially Christiana for her work and all this. I've really enjoyed it, and that concludes our presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, UrbanSim. Next up, this team does have a special place in my heart, but I might be a little biased because they're also a 500 Startups portfolio company. Numina and the San Francisco Recreation and Parks Department have worked together to create software that will help Rec and Park track the usage of our city parks and changes to the environment to better allocate resources to our parks. So let's welcome to the stage Numina.
Hello, I'm Paul DeConcoli-Tega, Manager of Operations at Numina.
And I'm Eric Pulowski, Planning and Performance Analyst with the San Francisco Recreation and Parks Department.
At Numina, our mission is to empower cities with data to become more responsive. We've built a standalone sensor and data platform to measure all kinds of activity in streets, especially non-motorized traffic, pedestrians, cyclists, wheelchairs, and more. We provide this data to planners such that they might better design cities for safety, livability, and equity. We've been successful thus far working with transportation and planning departments, but had not yet had the opportunity to work with a parks department, so we were excited to respond to RPD's STIR challenge and test a new use case for Numina.
The San Francisco Recreation and Parks Department manages a very large and complex park system. We have 220 parks comprising 4,100 acres, and that's spread with locations in 3 different counties in the state. We know we have a very popular and well-liked system. We know that from survey data, but what we don't know about our system is how many people in fact use it. And so it's important to us to know for 2 reasons. One, because as our general manager always loves to say, if you don't count, you don't count. But also because if you want to improve something, you first have to be able to measure it, and we want to know more about how and where we can get better. And so this slide illustrates some of the limitations of our existing data. The chart on the top left shows course registrations by supervisorial district. We know from observation that it's not a suitable proxy for visitorship. And what's more, we partner with a lot of third-party organizations like YMCA and the Boys and Girls Club. We partner with them for programming, and those participants aren't going to show up in our registration data. So we have some gaps, and for help in filling those gaps, we turned to STIR, and that in turn led to our partnership with Numina.
So Numina meets RPD's needs in several ways. Our sensor works by continuously capturing imagery of the street scene, detecting and counting each traveler, and measuring their motion between each frame. We process all images on board the sensor and never ship or stream any data. We instead wirelessly transmit all of our results via a cell phone network, and that allows us to provide intelligence without surveillance, which is especially valuable and combined with the capacity to easily deploy the sensor on light poles makes us capable of deploying Numina anywhere. The installation of our sensor, which took place at Bodecker Park 2 weeks ago, was a very valuable process for us because it allowed us to validate a key business assumption, which is that our sensor can be deployed by our city partners without actually requiring a member of our technical team on site. The sensor is currently in calibration mode. We face some challenges with connectivity in the area. We work with one cellular provider whose coverage is limited, so we're working with the City Department of Technology to evaluate alternatives, including the possibility of connecting to San Francisco's public SF Wi-Fi network. In the future, our Generation 2 hardware, which is currently in development, will support multiple providers and will allow us to customize our platform to fit the local conditions anywhere we deploy, preempting this issue.
And so what do we hope to learn with Numina's data? 3 things. One, we hope to use Numina's data to become more operationally efficient by coordinating our custodial and maintenance schedules with actual usage data. Secondly, we hope it will inform our capital planning and design efforts. For example, we could test before and after scenarios to measure the impact of a park renovation on usage. Similarly, we could test different park design elements. And then finally, it just goes back to, if you don't count, you don't count. Parks are a critical element of a livable city's infrastructure. We know they provide significant environmental, health, and economic benefits, and by being able to use visitor data to quantify those benefits, we'll not just be better stewards of our system, but we'll be more accountable and transparent to the public by being able to demonstrate that their investments in their parks are indeed paying off.
So with STIR and with RPD, we were able to validate that our sensor does have applications beyond just the public right-of-way. We were also able to form relationships with city agencies beyond RPD such that in addition to them, we are now exploring opportunities with GroundPlay and the planning department to deploy Numina to measure projects in the upcoming year. We see a host of applications possible with other city agencies, including housing, public transit, and beyond. And so we invite any city agencies who are interested in detailed counts and movement data to come speak to us afterwards. Thank you to the Mayor, Mayor Lee, the Mayor's Office of Civic Innovation, the STIR team for making this program possible, and thanks to our partners at RPD for working with us on this project.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Numina. So the chatbot revolution is finally making its way to city government. Yeti is next up, and they worked with the San Francisco Office of Contract Administration and the Committee on Information Technology, also known as COIT, to make procurement easier and more efficient for city employees. So let's welcome to the stage Yeti.
Hello, for all you public servants in the audience, I am sure that you've never had a problem with procurement. We're here to show you that it will be easy, soon. My name is Tony Sherba, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Yeti.
Hi everyone, my name is Rob Henning. I am Assistant Director within the Office of Contract Administration, which is San Francisco's central purchasing department. And Tony and I are here today to introduce you to Paige, who one day will grow up to be the Alexa and Siri of government procurement.
Very soon. We, as a background on Yeti, we are a development and design studio here in San Francisco. We have about 15 developers and designers. We've worked with clients like Google, MIT, Harvard, Westfield Labs, and PlayStation.
Okay, so anyone who knows anything about government procurement will tell you that it is highly complex and very painful for everyone involved. Certainly within my department, we get inundated with questions from city employees on how to buy goods and services. A lot of these questions are very repetitive. Every time someone asks me what is an RFP, a small piece of my soul dies. I don't want to do it anymore. I literally jumped at the opportunity to help build a tool that leverages artificial intelligence to answer the questions that drive me crazy.
And we've been at Yeti experimenting with chatbots specifically in the government space. So we were really excited when we saw the RFP come over from Rob. Our shop, we take a very user-centered approach whenever we go to design a product. So the first thing we did was we went and we interviewed several different departments, both small and large, and about what their pain points were around IT procurement. So what we found was that there was no clear roadmap for how to actually procure IT goods and services. There was a lack of knowledge around the forms that needed to be written and produced, and there was a lot of questions. So as Rob said, am I doing this the right way? So introducing Paige. Her name is, we named her Paige. She's the Procurement Answers and Information Guided Experience. In order to solve those 3 pain points that we mentioned before, we worked with OCA to determine the requirements. And those requirements were, we wanted to have a random Q&A segment where it could answer 80% of the questions that were asked of the department. We wanted to have guided walkthroughs so that we could show people the right path that they needed to go down. And we wanted to have a document library that could quickly produce the forms and templates that were needed. So here you can see the random Q&A. In this example, Paige is walking somebody through a sole source contract. So like, what is a sole source contract? There's also, as Rob mentioned, RFPs and RFQs, SOWs, and vendor tiers as well. Here's a guided walkthrough where Paige is taking somebody through a low budget commodity purchase. So asking the right questions to get somebody to the right answers. And then here's a full list of the document library that we've included into the chatbot. So you can ask for things like waivers or process flows or cheat sheets, things like that. From a technical infrastructure standpoint, we used Wit.ai, which is a natural language processing server backed by Facebook, to create small embed codes that we could put on various web and mobile properties that the Office of City Administration has.
So Paige at the moment actually speaks with a British accent, and she has promised me that she is going to provide greater clarity and consistency for city employees, that she's going to help standardize the guidance that we provide to staff members, and most importantly, she's going to free up my time and the time of my team members to actually focus on strategic procurement efforts and further innovation within our department.
So where are we going from here? The training process was actually very difficult. The interns at Rob's department probably hate us. So we are going to make a training portal that's a lot easier. We want to expand the use cases for this chatbot platform. So we've been brainstorming with the city and in our own shop, 311, business taxes and registration, all kinds of things like that, and then also increase accessibility with multiple languages. Thank you, everybody. We at Yeti are really excited about this, and so we've actually formed a small initiative within our company, civicchatbots.com, so you can check that out there, or a demo in the back. Thank you.
Thank you.
it's definitely a coincidence that Paige has a British accent. So Yeti has been super busy because they also worked with another department, the San Francisco Real Estate Division, City Hall Building Management, and I'll slow it down because he's like running across the back there, to create and develop a digital kiosk system that will improve the way visitors navigate City Hall. I'm sure a lot of you have gotten lost in City Hall before. It's a beautiful building to get lost in, but this will help you actually get to where you're going, and that will be in place soon. But let's welcome them to the stage to tell you all about it. Give them a hand. Yeti again.
Hi, I didn't have time to do an outfit change. So and I didn't know I was going to go back to back earlier today. So this is a project that was 100 years in the making, and it involves a building down the street here, a historic building built in 1915. As mentioned, we built this with this should say Rob Ryder and the real estate division. And that should say my name. Either way, we worked with the real estate division to make an experience, which I will show you. The problem that we were presented with, which unfortunately Rob isn't able to be here today, would tell you is the building is 100 years old. Here's a picture of it actually getting made, and there's a historical society and a language ordinance. So there's visitors from all over the world that come to see City Hall. It's difficult to navigate, and they can't put up all the signs that they want to put up because you can't drill into the historic marble as per the historical society's guidance. So there's two main problems. The building is difficult to navigate, and there's no way to clearly communicate what the events are going on that day and where those events are. There's two main issues: the language access ordinance and the historical society's rules and regulations. So we brainstormed with the city. We thought about potentially making an app. We thought about building a couple different things. And what we realized is if we could actually reimagine these directories, we can make a big difference and follow all the rules. So what if we could display events, solve for multiple languages, guide visitors to their destination? So here's a couple screenshots of what we built, but we built a cloud-based portal that city staff could go in and update the events for the day or the month. There's a library of standard events, so there's a lot of times a planning meeting that is a recurring event. There's a language selection tool that we made and a map picker, so you can see that here. So accessibility is key. Governments need to be able to communicate with everybody. So we worked really hard to build a language translation service. It currently has 5 languages, which we're still working out some of the kinks on. And we will auto-translate it, but then have the ability to override those translations in case the translation service doesn't get it right. We also have an ADA compliance button, so somebody in a wheelchair can wheel up to it and hit that accessibility button, and the interface will actually shift down. In the future, we want to add things like text-to-speech or alternate input controls as well. So we needed to take this great idea of building it and actually make it a part of the current city. So we have here in our office a 2x4 structure where we mounted a touchscreen TV and built a web application on it. And then one of the fun parts of this project was we got to go to the City Hall wood shop and work with Al, the city carpenter, to actually build a touchscreen kiosk using the aesthetic and design of the 100-year-old building. So here's an example of the loading screen, the event screen, and then the language selection screen in real time. The original plan was to like wheel it on stage here, but this is I actually went and took these last night. It currently doesn't have feet, and it needs to be stained and painted as well. So we are really excited about this project. There's big things planned. It's currently in the wood shop. Next week, it will get feet and move to the real estate division's office, where we'll do some basic testing and debugging. And then after that, it's going to go into the Grove Street lobby. And it will be there for 30 to 60 days, and we will be collecting feedback and usage data and things like that. And hopefully in the future, adding things like mapping and directory, historical information, tourist info, et cetera, et cetera. So come check it out. Tell us what you think. We're really excited. Thanks.
That is awesome. I can't wait to go see that in the wild. I'm going to go check it out. So our final team is the City of West Sacramento Economic Development and Housing Department, paired with App City Life. They've worked together on a software that estimates permit and development fees and puts real financial data behind conceptual development projects. So let's welcome them to the stage, our final startup, App City Life in the City of West Sacramento.
Well, good morning. I'm Diane Richards with the Economic Development Department of the City of West Sacramento, and it's a great pleasure to be here today. It's an economic developer's dream to have a room full of startup companies that I get to talk about West Sacramento with, so love that. So the Economic Development Department's main role is to facilitate business location and development investment decisions for the City of West Sacramento. As many of you probably know, we generate a lot of revenue from business investment and land development in the city, and that in turn funds community investment and more development and improvements for our residents and businesses. So we offer a lot of different services for businesses, including expedited permitting. We can turn a permit around in 14 days. We offer a one-on-one development review meeting with all your development team that we bring all the city departments together with. So we offer a lot of different services, and we're really proud that we are rated consistently as one of the best development services groups in our Sacramento region.
Hi, I'm Lawrence Beta, co-founder and chief operating officer of App City Life. We're a civic tech company. We make it easy for cities to connect technology to their community. We work across mobile, web, open data, Internet of Things, chatbots, everything technology. We have solutions in a variety of verticals. We are a partner of Excella. We do transit, we do food distribution, cultural services like public art, zoos, work with beacons and zoos, things like that. What made us a really good fit for this project is we are a partner of Excella, and West Sacramento uses Excella for their permits, and so we've done several solutions before that, and so it was a good fit for us.
So as I mentioned earlier, many of you have homes, you've made improvements to your homes. Every improvement that happens in the city, there are fee schedules that have to be consulted, and in West Sacramento, we strive to make those fees equitable among different areas of the city. So they are somewhat complex. There's a lot of different fee schedules. It's a complex process, and that's why right now, the current process, staff has to do this, and it takes hours to do it. Customers need these estimates to make investment decisions, and when they don't get them right away, it introduces uncertainty and it slows development down. And we had tried to automate this process before, but we're still doing it at the staff level, and our prior attempts to automate it were unsuccessful, so we thought it was a great candidate for a STIR project.
So the way we approach this project is first we had some, we're located in Albuquerque, New Mexico, so we did some on-site meetings. I'd come out here once a month and we'd gather information, learn about their process, learn about their permitting. And then we moved it on to weekly status meetings over the web, and that kept both parties, the city and our company, weekly projects that we had to work on and homework, and we'd come back on a weekly basis. And that helped us move very quickly. So what did we learn? Even though we've done several permitting projects with Excella, every back-end system can be a little bit different. So we actually had to do a system upgrade to accomplish this task.
The city of West Sacramento learned a lot from this process. For one, we learned to work at startup speed. We had to really work fast, and we also learned that we speak a completely different language than App City Life in terms of our permit language and the jargon that we use in developing these fee estimates. We also really learned a lot from using the Zoom meetings that App City Life scheduled for us every week. So every week we were working on the app. Every week the city had deliverables to produce and give back to App City Life. So it was a great learning experience for both of us.
So what did we build? We built a mobile and web app that asks a series of questions to the user. So, permits can be very complex. Here's an example. For example, if you have some sewer needs, if you answer yes, for example, then it gives you off to a input form that collects all the data that's necessary for that permit. So we go through this series of questions. All the questions might be in a project which is very involved. All the permits are involved in the city. Once you have those, you estimate it, and it returns to you a report. And here's a report PDF that returned to the user, and now they suddenly have an estimate for their project.
So as you can see, that's quite a long list of permits, and it is a complex process. We really like this application. I'm really excited about it because instead of our staff having to do it, and I'll be honest, I was actually starting to do some of these estimates myself because staff was telling me, oh no, we can't do this, we can't get it out to the business in time. But this delivers an online 24/7 customer-driven service solution. It allows the business to get their estimate right away, facilitates their decision-making. We saved 500 hours of staff time, which can actually go to reviewing active development applications, so that will expedite development happening, it'll expedite business locations, and improve the customer experience at the counter because businesses will know when they get to the counter how much they need to bring a check for. So all the way around, a great improvement over city service.
So next steps, we do artificial intelligence chatbots. We plan to put this into a chatbot so you can have more of a natural language questions and answers.
Thank you to the STIR program. We're very, very excited about this.
Thank you. Let's give a final round of applause to all of the departments and all of the teams that presented here today. They did such a great job. And now, the STIR program would not be what it is without the hard work of lots of people behind the scenes. So please welcome Dee Prasad, the program manager in the Mayor's Office of Civic Innovation. Please come to the stage.
Well, I just want to thank everyone for being here today, both in the room and on the live stream. I have to start by thanking our city partners who have amazingly opened up their spaces and their departments and their staff to participate in this program. So thank you all to Oakland, West Sacramento, and to San Leandro. To our departments who have spent so much time working with our teams. STIR is really a concept, it's a bridge to help be a place to bring these collaborations together, but you help bring these ideas to life with our startups. So thank you to all of our teams that were up here today and all of their teams that are in the audience that brought all of these innovations to you. STIR is a volunteer program, so the startups participate. They spent dev hours, they spent 5 a.m.s in Civic Plaza. They spend a lot of time learning about the needs of our residents and help design services and processes that are more responsive and really help free up staff time and design for our users in mind. So thank you to all of them. Just a couple quick announcements. We're really excited about launching the next cohort of STIR program for our 4th cohort, and it'll be launching soon. So please stay tuned for some exciting updates around that. If you're a department in the audience and you have an idea, come talk to us. We're sourcing challenges now, or we can schedule a time to talk. And if you're curious about civic tech or gov tech, and you're in the audience today, please reach out to us. We'd love to connect you and get you into the list for updates around the next round of challenges that'll be launching. So at this time, I'd like to welcome all of our teams back onto the stage for one last welcome. So another huge thank you to all of you for making these innovations possible. And now I would like to invite everyone to meet them and learn more in the lobby for our networking reception. Thank you for coming.